hard. It was a really hard role. You know, you're always looking for the next challenge of a part, and there's something about, I mean, I grew up watching Batman movies, and I've always been excited to see what the next iteration of it is. I've seen all of the movies in the theaters, and it just felt like, you know, when you're trying to find mountains to climb, I mean, it's definitely like, it's a pretty significant mountain to try and get. And I just had this strange feeling about it. I knew he was going to do something special, and then when I finally read the script, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally know how to do this.
So when I first got the job, I was, you know, my instinct was to start reading every comic book I could get my hands on, but then I thought, okay, let me talk to Matt first and really see what, you know, what his vision is and what, you know, what he thinks I should be reading. And I ended up really sticking with Frank Miller's Year One because that was, I think, kind of the home base for this particular story that we were telling. And my fear was that if I were to read everything, I'm going to want to incorporate everything, and it will get kind of gray and mushy, and I'll become overwhelmed and want to kind of fit too many ideas into one story. And the script itself was so complex and so specific, I really decided to rely on that to guide me with this character.
I've been trying to reach you.
There's latest. It's all about the Waynes. If we don't stand up, no one will.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays. The bat and the cat. It's got a nice ring.
You a new friend of yours? I'm not so sure. I'm just here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city. You're part of this too.
Hands up! Stay still!
How am I part of this? Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were. Bruce Wayne.
We didn't do a lot of rehearsal. We had like a couple days at the beginning where we sat with Matt and really went through the script together and kind of got all of our questions out of the way or fixed anything that wasn't feeling right. But then once we were going, we were just, that was kind of it, right?
Yeah. This was a long shoot. I mean, we're shooting from January 2020 to April 2021. Like, a long time to figure out how to play it.
But, you know, especially once COVID hit, it was really difficult for us to get together outside of offset, you know, so I'm glad we had that time with Matt at the beginning. It was a really exciting thing, you know, where we're starting this story is really interesting time because, you know, it's Batman's second year of being Batman, and Selina's not really Catwoman yet, so we designed this motorcycle suit to kind of start the foundation of what will eventually be the cat suit. So that was a really interesting process, is kind of finding out, okay, how can we get hints of what will eventually be the cat suit and who she will become, but right now trying to make it feel as practical as possible.
It's funny because I was kind of thinking, you know, no one really wants to see the origin story anymore and see Bruce's parents die. You know, it's obviously not in the script, and then you end up thinking, because that scene's not there, I've basically got to play his parents' death on my face every single scene. He's lived as a recluse, I mean, ever since, basically, and kind of living in an alternate reality where he thinks being Batman is the only way he can heal himself and heal the city.
There's a serial killer in Gotham, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. He's kind of following the breadcrumbs, which eventually leads him to Selina, that works at a club, and everything kind of begins to intertwine. So I have information that he needs, he has information that I need, and so we're kind of stuck working together.
Bruce created Batman to this very binary worldview where he's kind of like, there are good guys and there are victims. I mean, there are bad guys and there are victims. Then Selina comes along and it's like, and he's like, well, you're a thief, you're a bad guy, you're basically exactly the same as Penguin, you're kind of ostensibly a drug dealer. And yet, harshly because he needs her to achieve what his aims are, it's also his body is kind of saying like, there's something in her that I recognize, and it's kind of going against his snap judgment that happened at the beginning.
The most memorable scene. Maybe it's because it was the first day, but I always think about the fight that we do in Mayor's Mansion, and also just, yeah, it was our first scene together, was a major fight, combat, and then you were still getting used to the cowl, and there's this bit where you're on top of me on a table, and it's, you know, so hot in the suit, and he kept on sweating on me.
There's only one place where sweat can be released, which was directly in between. It would drop directly between Zoe's eyes from the nose of my cup.
We would just be like, you'd be like this, and I'd be just trying to do the scene, but also just looking at the one bead of sweat that I knew was about to fall.
I
on
can
my
almost see
face.
it quivering at the end of my nose, and I'm like, don't drop. It's like Mission Impossible.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough introduction to playing the characters, because it was kind of like Matt likes to do a lot of takes, and like that, and we were shooting the fight. I mean, it's hard to fight in those suits.
Yeah.
I mean, they were and we were like doing that for weeks.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, and then trying to put in, because, you know, a lot of our interactions at the beginning are in these very physical kind of set pieces, and you're kind of trying to do character stuff in amongst.
And learning how to move in these things. Yeah.
And trying to kind of establish a relationship while simultaneously like hitting each other.
Yes.
Which is like kind of, it's a quite unusual dance.
I think they have quite a strong connection pretty quickly, and I think they're both trying to fight that and ignore that, but I think they've both felt like outcasts, and I think they're both very surprised by feeling a connection with somebody, because I think that's quite rare for both of them, and I think it puts both of us out of our comfort zones.
She's very unjudgmental of unusual dress sense as well.
I think she likes it.
Yeah, she lives.
I think she's like...
On first, she never questions it at all.
So what's up with the outfit? Like, that's never a line.
Cool hat.
I mean, Matt had a really clear vision, and that, I think, really carried us through such a long shoot, and I think it can be a bit restrictive, especially, you know, in these suits, and you know, you can't really see his face and all of that, so I think as actors we tend to want to do more or change it up after doing something for a long time. You know, you want to do something new and fresh and just basically to keep ourselves entertained or something, and Matt really kept us focused in terms of, okay, what was our intention at the very beginning and how to keep that consistent throughout the film. You know?
Yeah, he's extremely sensitive to it as well.
Yeah.
Like, and also it's strange, like, because you can't really feel the light on your face, and you can't really feel the kind of what the energy is coming across a lot of the time. Like, he was very open as well, like showing playback and stuff, and it was. I remember when I first saw a scene cut together, and I was like, whoa, I didn't even know what was even happening. When you see the movie, it's like it's such a particular tone, and he just had it in his mind the whole time. It's the tone of the script, and he really achieved what he set out to achieve.